All right. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing? I am sorry for being away from making videos for a couple of weeks there. Lately, I was just doing a exam, and I needed the study time, so I decided to take like 2 weeks off of, making Overwatch content because it takes up a big portion of my time just to try and focus to make sure I could pass the exam, which I did. So now I'm just back to streaming, back to making videos again, and everything's going great. I figured for like this like comeback video that we'd have, and I've been wanting to make this video for a while, was to make a tier list based on like how satisfying it is to sleep an ultimate. Okay, um, like if it's possible to be slept, then like how satisfying it, how good does it feel as Ana to sleep an ultimate, and that's really what we're going to be looking at here today. Now we're just going to kind of be looking at like all the alts in the game and just see if it is sleepable, we will rank it. If it's unable to be sleeped, we will put it in the unable to be sleeped category. We're really just gonna like go through them each one by one. Now you'll have to bear with me because even though I play like have 200 plus hours on Ana, I don't really know or remember if all alts can be like interrupted. So we'll kind of just go on like not necessarily interrupting the alts unless it can be interrupted like as it's being cast or as it's casting essentially. So that would be like beats, but not necessarily something like sleeping a Mei out of her snowball cast, which again I'm not 100% if it's possible because I actually don't run into too many times where I've actually had that happen, but we'll just go through of each one by one and we'll see how it goes from there. So we have 5 categories. We have I'm a god. This is gonna be like as an Ana player, the best sleeps that you can imagine. Like you feel so great when you do this, and it's like you get like you do it and your adrenaline like shoots up. Your like dopamine shoots up. Like everything. It's amazing. It's the perfect feeling essentially. And then we have our extremely satisfying, which is gonna be like, it's not as good as like I'm amazing, that was the perfect sleep, but it's a really good sleep and it's really satisfying to hit. And you have your basic satisfying, which is just like I threw it, it's all right. It did give like a bit of that oh yeah I stopped that ultimate sort of feeling, but it's in the end it's not really like a too much of an issue. And then we have a meh, which is gonna be the you can sleep the ultimate, but you don't really get like, okay, I slept it. Yeah, all right, it's over. It doesn't really feel like anything. You're like, okay, I did that thing, I guess. And then we have our unable to sleep. So this is gonna be like stuff like that you can't sleep at all. So that's gonna be like Diva Bomb, because you can't sleep a Diva Bomb out of the air. It's gonna be stuff like trans, because you can't like sleep and like an ongoing trans, and things like of that nature. Okay. So first we have Baptiste Window. Okay. So Baptiste Window, obviously it's amplification matrix. Anything shot through it like increases the damage that's shot through it. Now for this one, I actually don't think it's able to be slept or interrupted. I think as soon as you cast it, like put it down, it's like it's cast. It cannot be like interrupted with a sleep dart. So that one's gonna go unfortunately into the unable to sleep category. And we're just gonna leave it at that. There's not much you can do there to stop that ultimate, so we're just gonna leave it. I think the same with Blizzard, to be honest. Blizzard is like, when Mei casts it, she throws it out, and I don't think you can stop that throwing cast. I'm like 90% sure you can't stop it. I could be wrong. But I think once once she throws it out of her hand, it is in the cast territory. It is a thing. There might... Now, I could be... Oops, sorry. I could be slightly wrong. There might be a chance to where, like, as she's holding it, like, after she clicks Q, after she's holding it in her hand, that you can interrupt the cast before it gets thrown into the air. And that, if that's the case, then we would probably put this at like a I would probably say like a baseline satisfying, because it's not gonna be coming up like too often where like that's gonna be a thing that's actually going to, you know, help your team besides getting an ult off of the field. So it's gonna be something like there, like it's satisfying, you got rid of it. It's not gonna freeze your team if it's possible to be slept, which I only think it's possible if it's like as it's cast, like you click Q and you know how Mei like pulls it up and then throws it. I think if you sleep it during that time frame where she's pulling it up, it can be canceled. But I definitely think it's more satisfying playing somebody like Diva or Sigma and eating, or even Orisa now, and just eating the ultimate is a lot more satisfying than just being like sleeping it. So we'll put that there. Yeah, I'll put it there because I feel like it's a bit bigger than some of the other alts on this list, just slightly better. And then next tier we have Bob. Now, Ashe's Bob, I think is I think it's meh. It's not really like a great ultimate. It's not even a great ultimate in it of itself because it's so easily interruptible. And a lot of the times right now there's just so much healing in the game that Bob just doesn't really get too much value at the moment. So sleeping Bob, anytime I sleep a Bob, I'm like, okay, I did that, but it's not really satisfying. It's just like you slept a standing still target. Like, how hard can that be? So not too much of an issue. I don't really consider it as satisfying. It's kind of meh. And then next we have Remech. So I do think it is possible to sleep a Remech because you can kill a Diva while she's remeching. So I believe it would be, you know, possible the same way to be able to sleep her as well. Ensuring that she doesn't get her mech back is pretty big, but I honestly, I'm just gonna put that in meh as well. Not as meh as Bob alt. Not as meh as Bob alt, but it's kind of like you know, you did get her. No, we'll move it up. And we'll actually, I'm gonna probably put it in front of Blizzard, because if she doesn't get her mech back, that's like her entire abilities, and then you can basically just kill her right there. So that's pretty satisfying to deny a Diva her remech. So I think I'm gonna put that right there. Next we have Coalescence. This one can be interrupted. It's not like a transformation alt, it's just like a channeling alt. So it's actually, you know, I would say pretty satisfying to interrupt a Moira ult, to be honest, because as she's alting, she's putting out a lot of healing and a lot of damage. And if she's, especially if she's targeting you while she's doing that, and you manage to land the sleep dart, even though she can fade and she has like a higher movement speed while the coalescence is going on, if you're able to sleep that and live, that feels like 100 times better to be able to get that done. And then usually it's going to result in like a free kill. So I would say that's pretty good. I would put it above the Remech and Blizzard though. It doesn't have like, it's not like extremely satisfying, because it's like, I don't know where I'd like say where I'd put it. I think it's just satisfying. It's not, it doesn't feel meh because it feels like you're actually doing something, but it doesn't feel like, oh wow, that felt great to sleep sort of thing. And we have a Bastion alt configuration. I can't remember if this alt works like Junkrat Tire, in which case, even though you kill the Bastion still keeps casting. I think it doesn't. I think you can sleep a Bastion out of it. I'm like 90% sure. I'm a little bit confused. Actually, I mean like it's the artillery alt, you know what I mean. But I don't know where I'd. Yeah, I'm gonna say this alt is kind of meh. It's a little bit better than Bob's, but if you can sleep out the ultimate, that's kind of helpful. But if you can't and it's just going down, it's not really gonna, it ain't gonna really have too much of an effect on the fight. So I'm gonna say we'll just put it as man. The times that you're actually able to sleep an ulting Bastion would be like if he's standing out in the middle of the open and it's a stationary target again. Not really my thought of like, satisfying in my eyes, because it's usually not that hard to avoid either. It's not super deadly unless like the Bastion really knows what you're doing, or your team is super grouped up, or you have no movement. And I guess as Ana, you don't have any movement, but at the same time, it doesn't come around enough to where like that's gonna be a problem. So just put it as meh. Now as for Deadeye, where do I want to put Deadeye? It is kind of like a stationary target, so it is really easy to sleep, but at the same time, when you hear like the "it's high noon" and then you like look around the corner and sleep him, that is a very satisfying feeling, because then he falls asleep and he doesn't get his ult off. He could be at like at the last possible second, almost about to kill somebody, and then you just deny that all completely. So I think I'm gonna put that in satisfying. I wouldn't say extremely satisfying because it is like an easier ult to sleep, but it is satisfying because it can deny quite a bit of damage or even a bunch of kills that can come from Deadeye. So I'm gonna put that in a satisfying location. Now Reaper ult. I think Reaper ult is extremely satisfying to sleep. I think if he gets in the middle of your team and you're able to sleep him before he can kill you, that is just a really good feeling. He is kind of a little easy to sleep, since he doesn't move. He just like spins kind of in one spot and maybe moves a little bit, so it's pretty easy to sleep. But it definitely feels a lot more satisfying than Deadeye, because it's like damage that's going on like right then, rather than like waiting for it to happen. And I know that's kind of like weird where I put Coalescence like right here, but I feel like the Reaper ult does a lot more damage than Coalescence, so it's a lot more deadly. It feels a lot better to actually sleep. And then we get to Dragon Blade. Now I'm gonna say Dragon Blade sleeps are just like an instant, like you feel like a god. If you sleep a Dragon Blade from a Genji, especially one, like they're such fast characters, if you're able to sleep a Dragon Blade from a Genji, you are doing amazing. And the amount of like adrenaline that you get from sleeping a Genji Blade is just so high. It feels perfect to do. I always feel great when I sleep a Dragon Blade. Like, as soon as he dashes in, especially if you get like the sleep before he can like deflect your sleep, or as he's like dashing up into the air, it has to be one of the most satisfying ults to sleep. And then when you land it, you just, because he's so tiny and he moves so much, when you land it, you just feel so good when you land it. So I'll put that there. Next we have Dragons. What is this alt called again? I forget. That's Dragon Blade. This is Hanzo's alt. I forget the name of it though. You got the dragons that come out of the arrow and spin in a circle. Is this alt interruptible? Can you interrupt dragons? I'm trying to remember. I think it does have a cast time between when he pulls his bow back and actually shoots out the dragon, so I think it is sleepable. And I'm gonna say it's pretty easy to avoid though. Let's see here. On the chances that you get like of sleeping a dragon are very slim. But I'd say that'd be on the side of like one of the more satisfying alts to sleep. I'm gonna put it probably before Blizzard, to be honest. I don't think it's really like it's not like meh. It doesn't feel like it doesn't do anything, or it's not like really like eh, because you know the sound of Fonzo's dragons is memorable. So I'm gonna put it like these are the really stupid reasons, like the sound is memorable. I'm gonna put it right there and satisfying though. It's an okay alt to sleep. It's not amazing. Now Echo alt. Now this is a tough one, honestly. I'm gonna say duplicate. If you sleep like a duplicated target, you can kind of put her asleep for the like almost the entirety of her alt, I'm pretty sure. But it's just kind of like you're doing a regular sleep on a regular person. You're not necessarily you're not like sleeping an ultimate. You are sleeping an ultimate, but you're not sleeping the duplicate ultimate. If you are sleeping the duplicate ultimate, I would say probably like around extremely satisfying, because then you're denying that super fast alt that she gets. But if you are just sleeping regular Echo, I think I'd put her like down in satisfying. This one is honestly, I think we need like a new section for this all. It is like it's like in between these two. Duplicate, because it really just depends on like when you're sleeping her during duplicate. So we'll put that right there, and we'll change the color a little bit so it's a little bit differentiated. But so that's kind of like in between extremely satisfying and satisfying. It kind of does a little bit of both. Earth Shatter. Now, Earth Shatter has to be an extremely satisfying alt to sleep when you're able to do it. And I would almost put this like up here because of how fast Shatter is cast. That being able to sleep it before he actually hits the ground is just feels amazing. Doesn't feel as good as Genji, but because of how fast this cast time is, I would say putting it up here is crazy. Because you could like sleep him like, and it's traveling, and then you miss the shatter sleep, but you do hit him to where he can't walk into your team, which is helpful. But you didn't just really stop the shatter. That's not the point of the tier list. So yeah, I would say stopping this alt feels really good. Except when the Reinhardt is like, you know, up in there. That being said, he's a really easy target to hit. So maybe we put it by like, I would say above Reaper, because I feel like it's more satisfying to sleep the Reaper alt because of how fast it is, and it's not like a, you know, like a channeling one where it's going on for a little bit. It's like it's a near instantaneous. It's not super instant, of course, but it's near that way. So yeah, I would put it in like that extremely satisfying category. EMP. This one's a tough one too. Sombra just got a buff. Is it still possible to sleep? I think it is still possible to sleep EMP. Actually, let me think about that. No, yeah, you can definitely sleep EMP. So where would we put it then? Of course. Let me see here. I feel like it's very hard to sleep EMP. Almost harder than Earth Shatter. almost, I would feel like, okay, if it is sleepable and I'm like, again, I'm like 90% sure you can sleep EMP, I would put it under like the I'm a god sleeps. Just because that is even a faster cast time than Earth Shatter is. And on top of that, usually most of the time that Sombra is going to use EMP is when she's in the middle of the air. So not only are you like casting this like in the middle of the air, it's going to be a lot harder to hit than something like a ground ultimate is what I'm trying to say, or like a person like standing still, you know, or barely moving or something like that. And she's a very skinny hitbox. So yeah, I'm gonna put that is, I don't feel like it's as good as like a Genji blade, but if you are able to sleep out of EMP, that has to be a very good feeling if you're able to hit those. I'm pretty sure this ultimate is Sigma Flux. So where would Sigma Flux go? Trying to think here. Sigma Flux is definitely a satisfying ult to sleep, and it's pretty hard to sleep too. He is a tank, but considering you're trying to hit like a flying target that is moving around, that's gonna be, and then on top of that, if you're hitting it, you're saving like anybody who's lifted up in the ult, like 58% of their HP being gone. So I would say that's like, that's a pretty good ult. I wouldn't put it above these two, but it's a really good ult to sleep. It definitely feels a lot more satisfying to sleep than like our basic satisfying ults, because you're stopping so much damage, and he's a hard to hit target while he's in the air. So that is, we're gonna put that one up in extremely satisfying. Very good ult. Gravitic Flux. I'm pretty sure that this ultimate is instantaneous and cannot be slept. I'm like 100% sure that you can't sleep that because it's a projectile that instantly comes out of her gun. So even like you could sleep her after she cast it, but you cannot sleep it as she's casting. I don't think that's possible. So I'm gonna put that in the unable to sleep category. We'll just keep that there. This alt. What is this alt? Is this Solari alt? So I pulled up like a random one, like a random tier to like kind of get all the alt symbols, so I didn't have to run through and like download them all. This one is Alari's alt. It's her shift ability icon, so that's kind of what we're using here. I feel like sleeping Alari's alt is definitely right up there next. It's probably higher than no. It's kind of tied with Sigma alt. I feel like they're like about the same in terms of how devastating they can be. This is guaranteed damage, of course. This one not necessarily as much, but so yeah, since this one's guaranteed and this one's not as much, but this is definitely a harder alt to hit. You have this very tiny target flying in the air, going back and forth. She has 4 seconds to cast, so she's gonna try and want to cast it as soon as possible. So it's gonna be a lot harder to actually sleep her out of the air before she gets that cast off. So that's gonna be an extremely satisfying alt to hit. I wouldn't say it's like, I wouldn't call it god tier though. I think she's kind of, because she does move kind of slow in the air. I wouldn't say she's like, it's super hard to hit compared to these two. But definitely one of the harder alts to hit out of like this list right here. So I don't know if that makes it like a little bit higher, a little bit lower, but at the end of the day, this ult really doesn't do that much damage unless Alari, like, unless they follow up damage on it. But if they don't, then, you know, sleeping is like, eh. So, hard ult to sleep. But we're just gonna kind of like leave that there. This alt is not. This is a Widow's wall hack alt. I kind of forget what it's called. Not able to be slept. You can sleep the Widow while she's alting, but that doesn't necessarily stop the ability for her teammates and herself to see through walls. So you can't really stop it after it's been cast. So we'll put that right there in the unable to sleep category. Kitsune Rush, I believe, is also unable to be slept. That one, I'm pretty sure that's instant. I think. I'm pretty sure it's an instantaneous ult. So you click Q, and it instantly goes out. She might do like a little bit of animation, like after clicking Q, but the ult is still cast like instantaneously. So I don't think there's a way to interrupt Kitsune Rush, and therefore we're going to put it in the unable to sleep category. But again, if I'm wrong on some of these, like, you know, I have a long time on Ana, doesn't mean I remember every possible sleep combination, because at the end of the day, when are you going to be trying to sleep a Kiriko to get rid of Kitsune Rush? There are other alts you can try and sleep on this list that are better to save your sleep for. So it's one of those. I'm pretty sure you can't sleep it. I'm gonna put it like up here because I think it's like instantaneous. And we'll put that right there. Doomfist alt. I don't think you can sleep Doomfist alt either. You can sleep him before he goes up. You can sleep him after he comes down, but you cannot sleep him in his alt because he is technically intangible, not an object that can be like touched. So that one's unable to sleep. What the heck is this? Can you sleep mines? Can you sleep mines? I can't remember. I'm trying to think, like, what if he was to get Brig bashed while casting? Would it stop the mines? I'm actually really unsure on this one. I want to say that there is a delay between when you click Q and when mines come out, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And so we'll say if it is possible, we'll put him in satisfying. If it isn't possible, I'm going to put it in like unable to sleep. But I would say that's a kind of satisfying alt to, you know, stop from happening. Ball's kind of a hard target to hit with sleep because he moves around so fast, but he's also kind of easier to sleep because he's such a big target. But he got some movement for him, so he's going to be a little bit better than like some of these other alts. I'm pretty sure this is Molten Core, and that's a transformation alt, so you can sleep it to delay him from splooging on the battlefield. I would say it's probably right here. I don't feel like it's extremely satisfying to sleep because he can get back up and then continue doing it. If there's still time left over, but I'd say it's still satisfying enough that you can, you know, like you delay that time, like the amount of time that he has to get that all out. I kind of want to put it in meh because like how much, like I don't know how much time you get with Molten Core. I feel like it's a lot, but I can't remember how much. And I'm pretty sure Sleep Dart lasts for like 5 seconds, so he might still be able to get like most of the alt out. even if he gets slept while doing it. But then again, he might not. So we'll leave it in satisfying. I don't think it's as bad as sleeping a Bob or a Bastion in alt, but it's there. Nano boost. So this would be if you have an enemy Ana on the other team and you're sleeping a target, or God forbid you accidentally get a sleep dart reflected into a nano boosted target, but that would be funny. Not meh. I would say this is. I'd say this one's kind of satisfying too. I would put it right around like maybe above mines, yeah, because I'm pretty sure if you sleep a nano boosted target, they are like that all it gets like entirely canceled. You can't necessarily stop. Well, can you? No, yeah, you can interrupt. Okay, there's two ways to look at this. We can look at this one way, which is where, since it's a steroid, we can look at it in one section to say, are we stopping the cast of nano boost, or are we stopping the nano boosted target? If we're stopping the nano boosted target, nano boost loses like all like effect essentially, because it doesn't have a long enough cast time, I don't believe, to be able to, unless you're sleeping a tank, to be able to use the entirety of nano boost. So it's I would say satisfying if you sleep the target and like not while it's being cast, but I would say probably extremely satisfying if you intentionally sleep an Ana out of her nano boost, which doing that intentionally, it's probably impossible. I don't think I think any times that I've actually gotten like my nano boost interrupted to where it does not hit the target, which is very, very hard to do, I that's never done to me intentionally. It's always something like me clicking it and then it happens. So I'm gonna put it in satisfying for just the fact that you can kind of sleep the nano boosted target and stop them from doing anything with the nano boost. I'm pretty sure this one is overclock. Overclock is pretty satisfying to sleep. I would put it probably above Deadeye in terms of like its total satisfyingness to sleep someone. It's not really extremely satisfying because, like, she's a target, she moves around. It is what it is. Chunk, shoots targets. Oh well. So yeah, I'm gonna say that's satisfying. Wouldn't say it's like it's not extremely sad. Like the fact that it can be slept makes it better than meh. Well, like the fact that it can be slept and it's like a difficult target to sleep makes it better than meh. But the fact that it's also like she's gonna be out looking for targets. She can move, but she has there's a bit of a cooldown with that. So I don't think I would put that extremely satisfying. I don't think it's like a super big threat. Sometimes it can be easily avoided unless the person is like absolutely cracked at it, at hitting those shots. So I'm gonna say, that's a satisfying ult to sleep. Probably the best satisfying ult to sleep, but definitely not like out of all of them. It doesn't reach like that extremely satisfying or like, oh my god. This would be Symmetra's wall alt. Again, I forget the name of it, but what would this be called? Sorry. Where would I put this on the tier list? I don't think you can sleep Symmetra's ultimate. I think it's one of those... I think it's instantaneous. I don't think you're going to come around to a time where, like, you're actually able to... It might be interruptible, like, the cast might be interruptible, but I don't think you're going to do it intentionally. And I think it's kind of instant, like, BAP window, so we'll put it, like, right here, just before Kitsune. Which makes me, like, should we maybe change where Blizzard and Dragon Strike go? I feel like the cast time for Blizzard is strong enough that you can hit that or is long enough that you can hit the Mei without unintentionally, like, doing it, like you do it intentionally. So I feel like that can stay. Dragon Strike... There are certain times where I feel like that's acceptable. I'm going to leave that there for that. And same with mines. I feel like those are sleepable. I don't feel like these ones are sleepable. I'm going to say that these ones, because I'm going to just leave it as, like, if they are sleepable, we'll put it in the saddest, like, any of the other tiers. But if it's 100% not sleepable, we'll put it down here. Whether that's during the cast or during the actual ultimate itself. I don't think this one is able to be slept. I'm pretty sure, like, as soon as she gets her ult, that's going to be instant across the battlefield. So we're going to keep that there. I'm pretty sure this is Winston ult. Winston ult is pretty satisfying to sleep. I would say right here, you don't get rid of the entire ultimates, of course. You're just like, because it's a transformation ult, but you do stop it for the most part, and it can save you in a lot of, like, sticky situations. But he is such a huge target to hit. Even if you do sleep him, you know, it's satisfying. Wouldn't say it's, like, immediate threat, like, extremely satisfying to sleep, or, like, but it's kind of right there, and it's a lot harder to sleep than, like, Bob or that. So you got an angry monkey chasing you. Good satisfying to sleep. I am kind of perplexed between putting this above Overclock. I feel like it should go above Overclock, even though it's, like, a little bit harder or easier to sleep, just because when you have a raging monkey chasing you, it's that's kind of scary. So we'll keep Winston's ult right there, and just leave that in that order. Pulse Bomb. I don't think Pulse Bomb can be slept. I think there are times where you can lose Pulse and while it's being cast, but it's so... it's one of the... well, can you... it's so rare to have something like that happen. I feel like I'm pretty sure Pulse goes out whether they are slept or not. So that would be a very rare chance. I'm going to say this is unable to be slept. I'm going to put it down here. Brig Rally. This is another transformation ult. So if you manage to sleep Rally while it's going on, given that she has her shield up, it's kind of satisfying because you're keeping her stationary. She can't really move forward or do much with it. But she's still benefiting her entire team if they are around her, because it does give overhealth to them. So I'm going to say it is a satisfying ult to sleep, but it's not really... it ain't really going to do anything besides, you know, keeping Brig off yourself or off your tank. So we'll put it right there, kind of towards the end, because it's kind of like it's bordering on that kind of spot. So we'll just put it there. Now Rampage, on the other hand, I'm gonna put up at extremely satisfying. I know she's Junker Queen and she kind of stalls when she ults, but hitting it before she's actually able to go forward or as she's going forward, even if it's kind of like an easier one to hit, I feel like that is like an extremely satisfying. It's probably like the least extremely satisfying, but it's definitely a very fun ult to sleep. and it feels good when you sleep it. It doesn't feel like yeah, it feels pretty good when you get her sleep, because she is kind of one of like the skinnier tanks. So I would put that like a little bit higher up than just like our satisfying list that we have going now, but at the end of like the extremely satisfying ults. Junkrat Tiger cannot be slept. Junkrat can be slept while the tire is active, but that doesn't stop the tire from moving. So this would go here. Now, to be fair, if this tire had like 5 health left and you did the minimum damage with Sleep Tart to sleep the tire, maybe we move this up to like a meh, or maybe even a satisfying. But because the tire itself can't be like put to sleep, we're gonna put it in unable to sleep. Diva alt, gonna put that here as well. You can't ult a Diva Bomb, or you can't sleep an ulting Diva Bomb. You can sleep a Diva that's flying up getting ready to press Q, but you cannot stop the Q after it has gone out. So that is going to be one of those that you can't really do anything against it. A Lucio ult. Lucio ult is going to be, I'm going to put that up in extremely satisfying. And the reason I say that is Lucio, when you're able to sleep like an ulting Lucio before they can actually drop the beat, that just feels so good to do. It's definitely before Rampage. I would even say maybe before Alari ult too. It's hard to say, but if you're able to stop that ult from coming down and giving everybody shields, that one feels really satisfying to sleep and to stop, especially if he's like in the middle of the air beating it down. So that's a good one. That's a lot. I would definitely say it's a lot more satisfying than the others, given the like context of how much like defense it can give his team. So well, I'll put that in extremely satisfying. Visor is nothing special. I mean, it's kind of like Overclock. It's a transformation ultimate, and you'll see a pattern here. Most of our transformation ultimates are gonna go like in satisfying, because you can sleep it, you can stop it for a period of time, but afterwards he can get back up and still use a little bit of his, you know, remaining ult. And he's not particularly too hard to hit, assuming he's like, you know, in a, you know, if it's a 1v1 situation, and you're competent enough to hit your sleep darts, it's not too hard to hit like an ulting Soldier 76. This would be Arissa's ult. I forget the name of it. It's unable to be slept. That's because she turns gold, so she's CC immune. We'll just put that right at the bottom there. Can't really do anything against ults. Same with Transcendence. You can't stop Transcendence. He's CC immune during that ult, so there's nothing really that you can do against Transcendence in order to stop it. Valkyrie. Oh, this one's tough. Where do we put? I feel like Valkyrie is a lot harder to hit than Illari ult. I don't feel like it's like a I'm a god. It might be, honestly, it might be, considering how fast she can fly in it. But I'm gonna say like that's like the border of like extremely satisfying and up there like on the I'm a god section. Definitely really good to feel that you could sleep that while she's in the middle of the air, flying around doing mercy things. Whole hog, this one also going to go into satisfying, you know, right around soldier ult. It's not too big, but it is still like a moving target. I mean, I would almost put this down in like a meh, because like it really just depends on where hog is. I'm gonna say like in general it's satisfying to hit, but it's not really like a it's not really like one of these two. Tree cannot be slept. It's a tree. Ramaltra alt is also a transformation. Now you can sleep Ramaltra, but the alt still keeps going. So this is going to be like right around like Brig alts. There's not really much you can do besides sleeping him and walking away from him. And he's such a huge target on the ground. Pretty easy to sleep. It's satisfying to stop it, but not really like something that is really going to cause, too much of a problem if you do stop it. Or it's not really going to be too much of a benefit if you do stop it and run out of the way. Well, kind of. It really just depends. Like, if your team walks out of it and stops it, like, gets the ult to end, then within those 5 seconds, then it's great. Otherwise, it's alright. Again, I don't feel like it's meh to sleep. I think I might are most of these... I feel like Brig Rally. Is Brig Rally meh to sleep? Nah. I definitely feel like these... Like, meh is gonna be like a very tiny category. I feel like most alts are satisfying to sleep. But meh is gonna be like a really tiny category. And lastly, we do have Barrage. I don't think I can pull it back down. Barrage is one of those easier targets to sleep. It's a little bit harder. I would say if you're trying to sleep like a flying Pharah, yes, it is like extremely satisfying to sleep a flying Pharah. But if you're just sleeping her alt where she's standing still, I would say it's kind of like up here-ish. Yeah, like right there. It is definitely a good alt to sleep, and it feels good to get her slept, but she's very stationary while she's doing it. So there's not really like... It's not as bad as like a Bob or a Bastion alt, but there's not really much you can do to make this like more satisfying to sleep. It's just kind of one of those, yeah, I stopped it. It felt good to stop it, but it's not like, holy shit, I landed that sleep dart, or oh my god, I landed that sleep dart. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I landed that sleep dart. That's good to stop. So yeah. All in all, I think that's going to be our like entire tier list for the best ultimates to sleep as on it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you have any like questions, or if you want to tell me, well, actually this alt can be slept and this alt can't be slept, then go ahead in the comments, because like I said, some of them I'm not really too certain on. Or if you have differing opinions, I'd love to hear like how you feel about some certain alts. Or how you don't feel about them. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Thank you for sticking around till the end. If you liked it, leave a like or a comment, and I will see you on the next video, which will either be a short, if you like watching those, or another long video next week. And then don't forget to subscribe as well. See ya.